I'm Dan Dyker. Thanks for joining us again as we are, believe it or not, up to 2 season finales, regular season point finales at the Crosse Speedway and the Mississippi Thunder Speedway. But don't fret, there are some huge shows coming up at both tracks here in the next month or so. September is going to be awfully exciting, and both tracks are going to be leading up to big races coming up in October. We're going to start the show off as we normally do. We're going to give you our La Crosse Speedway highlights from last weekend. Got a special guest in the studio. I'm going to talk a lot of dirt here for the remainder of the program. First, we're going to start off with asphalt. It was Buck Night at the La Crosse Speedway. Of course, we had about 3,000 people. I was telling you what, I was watching the food walk out of that place, and those concession workers, they were making their little dollars over the weekend because they were hustling quite a bit of food. Let's get you started with the La Crosse late models. And the week before the 220-lap features, everybody got to put them on the haulers. But before that, we had a log jam for the last 2 laps of this one right here. Timm, who had just came off a win at Norway, Michigan last Friday night in the ARCA Series, came out and toppled the field on Saturday night. But he had some challenges here as well. As Mike Carlson was leading this race, the guy that he kind of has the same car in the same shed with spins out. He lines cars up with a caution, and Timm capitalizes as he gets around Carlson. You can see right there he's going to pick up his 3rd feature race win of the season at the La Crosse Speedway. And he's got his sights set on Oktoberfest already. It was a nice one, though. Sean Paff had some tires going away, he told us. That's why he had that 2nd place spot. He wanted to make a nice run on time, but just kind of ran out of room. It was Steve Carlson finishing 3rd. Of course, he's got the top point tally at the Speedway. Mike Carlson and Cole Howland rounded out the top 5. And what was one of the best sportsman races to call the entire year, it was last Saturday night. A couple of drivers with the new rules packages saw this thing come down. The last 8 laps looked exactly like this. The horsepower came to the front. Nick Clements, your point leader and track record holder, is on the outside going for win number 8 this year. To the inside, Wes Adams, Jimmy Crackhorn Gilster right behind. Steve Bachman, of course, out for 7 races with that hand. He's come back and he's been hard charging. And this one came all the way down to the line. And you're going to see that finish with the white flag. They're going to do it again. Bachman, best seat in the house, had nowhere to go. And that was apparent because Gilster was not going to give up the inside. Clements was not going to give up the outside. And we darn near had a photo finish for the 3rd time this year in the sportsman's class with this new rule package. And right there at the line, it was Clements by about a quarter of a car. Both drivers on the track afterwards told me that was the best damn racing that they had done the entire season. They love the new rules package. They like the speeds. And you can expect to see more of that racing coming up for the remainder of the year. To the action track quarter mile we go as the Thunder stocks back out again. The points had changed for the 4th straight week between Andy Moore and Charles Vian. You can see both of those two running side by side, but it was Bill Schott. He took the race lead on lap number 2, and he never looked back, but he had those 2 cars in the hunt right behind him the entire night. And it was a clean race. It was a good one to call. It was fun. Vian on the outside, Moore on the inside. Started the night with a 3-point lead over Vian, and of course that is going to go down into Oktoberfest. Bill Schott will take the win, and he told me afterwards, you know, he's got 2 other wins this year that he was DQ'd from. Came up at the grandstands with a very proud smile, said, hey, I got the win and I wasn't DQ'd. So he was awfully happy to nail down a legal win at La Crosse Speedway on Saturday night. Auto Value Street stocks are back out again. We had 22 of the new 6-cylinder class cars out. A lot of bobbing and weaving and some paint trading going on as you see several getting into the tire. Only BMW you're going to see at a racetrack was right there involved in that one. And we're going to take your eyes right by the top spot here in just back a moment. It was Dan Osthoff. That's an Audi A4. Yes, it's a 6-cylinder, and yes, that was his 3rd straight stock feature race win. That man was awfully happy, and he had a bunch of new sponsors on that car as well. You see a Trevor Zellner spilling out in his 85 Camaro. He's going to win earlier this year. But it was all Osthoff. He was high atop his car in victory lane as the night ended for the number 16. Wild and crazy figure 8 race on the front straightaway. The winner, Tyler Mitchell. The only races he gets involved in are when you get the crunch. He likes the EVA Destructions. He likes the trailer races of Destructions. And he likes the figure 8 race. And you'll see his 0-4 right at the very end get the pass right over here. John Clausen gets a little bit of a tap. He sneaks to his inside, and Tyler Mitchell wins our figure 8 race with a whole bunch of house cars and a whole bunch of Hornet cars. Next up at the Crosse Speedway, it is the weekly racing finale when we talk about points racing. As you see, Tyler celebrating around that yellow tire right there. Twin 20-lap features for the lacrosse NASCAR late models and a whole big schedule as our final points night comes down. Final points, of course, in Oktoberfest, but for weekly racing will be this Saturday night. When we return, we're going to talk dirt racing. Same scenario at MTS. Final weekly races when you talk about points, season championship in 2 weeks, and a big race coming up in September. We're going to talk to track owner Bob Timm here on That Matter in a moment. This is 7 Rivers Racing.
Get ready for the Thunder!
The Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Your Friday night racing destination.
Every Friday night.
Super stocks, modified.
600 mods.
Pure stocks, street stocks, B-mods.
It's racing excitement, dirt track style. Tickets $12 for adults, $10 for seniors. Students free with an ID. And this year, kids 17 and under free with an adult admission. Friday night racing starts at 7.
Bring on the Thunder!
Dirt track style at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Highway 35 just north of Fountain City.
Some of the best moments in life happen at home. American Standard Heating and Air works smarter to make them all more comfortable.
Over $400 in rebates available on select American Standard systems. Call Carey Heating and Air Conditioning today for a free estimate.
Welcome back, 7 Rivers Racing, KQEG TV. We're going to take you to the dirt track now. Mississippi Thunder Racing style up in Fountain City. And the U.S. MTS hunt for the Casey's Cup showed up last Friday night. They were about 30 strong. And this was some outstanding racing, and especially when you talk about Zach Vanderbeek, just 2 days shy of his 1-year anniversary of his last U.S. MTS victory, which was at the Ogilvie Speedway. He came back out and messed with Jason Hughes, who also had a big win years ago at MTS. And you're going to see a jumbling of cars right here, but you'll see Vanderbeek and you'll see Hughes. Those two were making their way through some of the heaviest lap track I've seen at MTS all season. They were using cars as pawns. They were using their dirt track knowledge on how to get high, how to get low, when to get on the throttle, when to come in. It was just simply outstanding to call this one with Dan Bailey. And out of the 26, I think they were, that started that feature right there, Vanderbeek ended up picking up the win. Jesse Sobbing took third, Rodney Sanders fourth, Derek Ramirez rounded out the top 5. Win was worth $30,000, and from what we understand, one driver now, I want to say Rodney Sanders is in line for a $100,000 payday for winning the 3 different regions of USMTS, and we'll talk with Bob Timm about that later on in the program. So congratulations goes out to Zach Vanderbeek. That was one heck of a race right there. Only one caution the entire way out of 40 laps. To the Super Stocks we go with Soda Super Stocks. Well, you can rewind this program all the way through the season and then just press play. I'm going to mention the name Tommy Richards. The 7R did it again. He's won from the back, the middle, from the pole. You can put this guy 2 laps down, and I think he's actually going to come back, and he's going to win himself a dirt track race. For the 11th time in 2015, he was unstoppable. He gets the track win, and he also ties a track record of most wins set in a single season. Johnny Sievertson did that back in 2009. Sievertson's not going to be able to top that unless Richards bows out over the next 2 races. And you're going to see right there as Richards collects the checkered flag. Not only was that his 11th win at MTS, his 20th on the season racing at other tracks as well. I don't see anybody else that can stop Tommy Richards for the remainder of the year. To the B-Mods we go, USRA B-Mods. Ben Anderson, former 2-time B-Mod track champ, jumped into a limited late model this week and did a nice job. He actually led this thing about halfway through. A late race caution enabled the point leader, Lance Hofer, who was running a deep third in this race, to capitalize on the restart. And you're going to see right here, he's got that number 11 machine already making up into lap traffic, and he will take home the race win. He also got past the pole sitter, Troy Hansmeyer. Lance Hofer was the story. Anderson was forced to settle for second, and Bob Fort rounded out the top 3. To the USRA B-Mods we go. This has been the number 24 show pretty much throughout the year. A couple of other drivers have tried to get upside of the 24. Brad Waits, 1M. He's tried to do it a couple of times, but tonight it's going to be your last Friday night. It was Sean Walski. Walski had a great line running the outside. He said he was trying to grab moisture pretty much all the way through the race, and the number 95 grabbed his 4th win of the year, stayed just as far ahead of 3-time feature winner and current point leader Parker Hale's machine. It was also a Casey Knutson who's had an outstanding run this year, getting by Eric Cans, who is your point leader. And we'll try to get that video for you here later on in the program. To the sportsman we go, the 4J Jordan Becker. I tell you what, folks, if he would have came out the first couple of weeks, missed the first 2 weeks of the racing season, he would have tied Tommy Richards when it comes to wins, as he has been unstoppable in his machine this year. He grabs his 9th race win on the season. And I tell you, between him and Derek Sutton, they've made this growing sportsman class very entertaining to watch, whether it's been the Woody Woodpecker 4J or Derek Sutton's Grocery Getter Mafia number 33. Becker, I look back to last year on how many nights he came home with fenders off and broken tie rods and broken axles. Just been on a rail this year, and a congratulations goes out to Jordan Becker. The Hornets, an old Crosse Speedway car, it was a Stemlin family car, came out in a 25-car field, the biggest we've had over the past year and a half of bringing Hornets back in. You see Sievertson right there trying to work his way back up to the front, but it wasn't going to happen, as you see the Honda CRX work his way down the back straightaway into the corners. And the car, that's Hunter Nelson. He's getting lapped. And I think that might have been for the second time, as Ryan Happel was simply outstanding in this race right here. And we're going to talk about the Hornets in our next segment as well. As we had 25 last Friday, we're going to double that this Friday night with a huge payday in the first annual Hornet Swarm that I know you're going to see all these drivers and a bunch more that have came out and pre-registered for. We'll talk about that here in a couple of minutes as well. Johnny Sievertson still stuck at win number 9 on the year. When we come back, we're going to talk about a big payday for the Hornets on Friday night and a larger payday coming up times 10 or more in September, as Bob Timm for the Mississippi Thunder Speedway is going to join us in the program. That's coming up next on 7 Wheelers Racing.
Get ready for the Thunder!
The Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Your Friday night racing destination.
Every Friday night.
Super stocks, modifieds,
600 mods.
pure stocks, street stocks, B-mods.
It's racing excitement, dirt track style. Tickets $12 for adults, $10 for seniors. Students free with an ID. And this year, kids 17 and under free with an adult admission. Friday night racing starts at 7.
Bring on the Thunder!
Dirt track style at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Highway 35 just north of Fountain City.
Some of the best moments in life happen at home. American Standard Heating and Air works smarter to make them all more comfortable.
Over $400 in rebates available on select American Standard systems. Call Carey Heating and Air Conditioning today for a free estimate.
Hi folks, welcome back. Simmers Racing, K3 GTV. I'm Dan Dyker. Okay, I told you last segment that Bob Timm, the owner and driver up at Mississippi Thunder Speedway, was going to join us this segment. Well, I kind of fibbed. Bob said he'd rather sit back and watch the race I'm about to show you right here before we actually get into the interview segment with Bob. We want you to sit back and watch this. This is the last huge chunk of the USMTS hunt for the Casey's Cup race from Mississippi Thunder Speedway last Friday. Strap yourselves in.
I don't think you could fault anyone if they would have expected Saunders to be challenging for the lead, because right before that caution he came to life, but boy, he really hasn't had anything for him as of yet.
I don't know, if you glaze the tires over a little bit, something changes up on the car in any event. You play with the brake bias and whatever they're doing. Jason Hughes has found it, but nobody has got anything right now for Vanderbeek, our pole sitter here tonight, looking to take it to the bank here at Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Just outside the top 5, Lucas Schott being challenged by Jesse Glenns in the 7 with the 2 right behind him. 3-car battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Good battle farther back, and again, a lot of money up on the line here tonight. But they look at the whole points picture here tonight. Jason Hughes would like to get up there and lead a lap or 2. As laps for leading the most, he ain't got there yet, but he will take it on that final lap as we continue to click them off. 25 in the books, 15 to go. Well, Dan, we're taking a look at this, and we see Vanderbeek hustling through here now. And I think we're going to find lap cars before this is all said and done here tonight.
And before he gets to those lap cars, the 12 is coming. He has cut into that straightaway lead that the Z-Man had. It's now down to about 2/3 of a straightaway, closer to a half of a straightaway. So Hughes is on the move just in time to catch that lap traffic.
Hughes going up high, and then he'll just dime in the corner. You watch to get more straightaway. He'll get right up to the top in turns 1 and 2, and now look at him cut to the bottom. And zip, 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 here we go, trying to turn the heat up and put some pressure on Vanderbeek, who leads.
And there is not much racing room ahead of Vanderbeek as these cars at the tail end of the lead lap are using 3-4 grooves just ahead of him. He's going to have to tiptoe through the pack.
And where are you going to tiptoe? You ain't going to be able to pedal it and jack on the brake and save it. You got 3 wide here. I mean, you just can't go in there with a bulldozer blade on it. You got to use a little finesse and a little patience. And these guys don't even know the first letter of patience. They are just all go mode here tonight as we have got 10 to go.
Arneson in the deuce just ahead of the 33 of Vanderbeek. A bit all alone. That maybe will give Vanderbeek an easy opening there to at least begin working through the lap traffic.
So far, 1 caution flag has flown here tonight in our 40-lap A main. Vanderbeek now with Arneson right dead ahead as they go into turn 3, and Jason Hughes has closed the gap again. Here comes that 12 car out of Watts, Oklahoma.
We're setting up for what could be a doozy of a battle right at the checkered flag as we're closing in now on 7.5 laps to go on our 40-lap main event.
The laps continue to go down. Jason Hughes, a bridesmaid last night. He's tired of that. He wants to put the groom suit on. Zach Vanderbeek wants to have something to say about that. Looking for his first Chase for the Cup feature win.
Vanderbeek will have to work underneath young Jake Timm of the 49. Everybody giving up that lower groove as the leaders trying to work through.
Vanderbeek, who started on the point here tonight in the 33Z car. Jason Hughes, who started back in 13th, is earning his paycheck here tonight as back down into turn number 3.
Coming up on 5 to go in our 40-lap feature for the USMTS racers on Mississippi Thunder Speedway's Big Third Mile. Vanderbeek now in traffic.
Yeah, I would say this looks like 35W at 5 o'clock. Oh boy, hang on. Alongside of Jake Timm, here we go. Philip Houston, the 71er there. There is the 91 of Big Daddy Joe Duvall. Scott Drake in a 91. Houston now dead ahead, and Jason Hughes 3 car lengths back.
Hughes is able to drive it deep into the turns. That's where he's making up all of his ground. Vanderbeek, quick on the gas coming out of the turns, opens up a 3 car length advantage.
Hoping everybody just opens the floodgates, and it hasn't happened yet. The advantage stays the same. Sabine back there in 3rd. The 20 car of Sanders in 4th, and Derek Ramirez rounding out your top 5.
What are we going to see as we close in on the final 2 laps here? Next time across the line, look for the white flag as your race leader Vanderbeek works underneath the 71.
Here we go. It's checkers or wreckers now. Show me what you got. Drive it like you stole it. And Vanderbeek down into turn number 1.
Final time out of turn number 2, down the back straightaway. Vanderbeek in a 3-wide battle with lappers. Hughes, not much time left.
No time left as the hourglass is running out, and the Z-Man will do it. Vanderbeek wins it. Hughes 2nd. Jesse Sabine 3rd. 4th place will go to the 20 of Rodney Sanders and Derek Ramirez, the 4R.
Well, I told you the USMTS race was a heck of a race. I know Bob Timm, we're going to talk to here in the next segment, was pleased to see that many cars come in. A lot of money came in, a lot of money went out, and a lot of fans enjoyed what they saw with the USMTS stop at Mississippi Thunder Speedway. Stay tuned. We're going to talk more about a big Hornet race, a huge BMOD national race. That's all coming in the next segment on Mississippi Thunder's 7 Rows Racing.
Get ready for the Thunder.
The Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Your Friday night racing destination.
Every Friday night.
Super stocks, modifieds,
600 mods.
pure stocks, street stocks, B-mods.
It's racing excitement, dirt track style. Tickets $12 for adults, $10 for seniors. Students free with an ID. And this year, kids 17 and under free with an adult admission. Friday night racing starts at 7.
Bring on the Thunder.
Dirt track style at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Highway 35 just north of Fountain City.
Some of the best moments in life happen at home. American Standard Heating and Air works smarter to make them all more comfortable.
Over $400 in rebates available on select American Standard systems. Call Carey Heating and Air Conditioning today for a free estimate.
We are back one more time. Settlers Racing KQEG TV. I'm Dan Dyker. Thanks for joining us in the program. We're going to introduce the track owner and driver and man of about 12 different hats besides Cook at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway, and that will be Bob Timm. Bob, great to have you back in the program.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Boy, I tell you what an exciting year we've had. This is year number 6, I want to say.
This is our 7th season, yep.
Under your belt at MTS. First off, I appreciate being one of the announcers up there. I'm having a blast the entire year. I hope Dan and I are doing what we're supposed to be doing for you up there. Give us a quick summary of racing so far this year. You got a couple of new classes up there. The fan base, I think, is growing each and every weekend, and the Mushroom and Swisses are still great.
Yeah, well, first of all, we have the best announcer tandem in the business, I think, with you and Dan. You guys do a great job promoting MTS and all short track racing in our area, so I appreciate that. But, you know, it's been probably our best year. 2015 has in our 7th season, and I'm not really sure why that is. I don't know if it's the classes that we currently have or, you know, gas prices being down a little bit and more people willing to travel and make it to the races. But, you know, we're up tremendously, both in the way of car counts. I think we've had over 130 cars several times this season, and I think on average our fan base is probably up almost 200 people. So from a participant and spectator standpoint, I don't think it could be any better than we could have expected, for sure. So I think it leaves a lot of things positive to look forward going into 2016.
And of course, we've talked on the show many times that the addition of the limited late model class, which I love calling those races there, I mean, that car count will grow over the next year or two, and I think you're going to agree with me on that we've seen it grow to, I think, as high as 16 so far this year. The sportsman class, brand new this year. Some tinkering was done there. We expect some car counts to jump in there, and the Hornets as well. So I would expect 2016 to shatter some car count records, and hopefully the attendance keeps growing. Talking about the Hornets, you've got 2 big programs as we get down here, believe it or not, to the end of the weekly racing with points. We're going to talk about this $100,000 or $120,000 win to weekend here in a moment, but 50 Hornets have pre-registered to come out Friday night for this first annual Harmston Trucking, I think they're calling it the Hornet Swarm. Have you ever had 50 Hornets at that track at the same time?
No, I haven't, and I didn't think we ever would. So, no, I think it was a great idea. You know, Howard and Larry came to me a few weeks ago and said, you know, would it be all right if we put something like this together? And I have so much on my plate already, kind of planned for the season, so it's kind of a last-minute deal. I said, well, if you guys are willing to contact the drivers and get the word out and make it happen, you know, I'm all for it. We'll put it together, you know. And I think they've done a great job getting a hold of everybody and putting together a good program and rounding up sponsor money. So I think the Hornet guys really got something to look forward to this Friday. And I think from the fans' perspective, I mean, that's always been the deal with Hornets. I think since day one when I took over the track, you know, we had Hornets and we eliminated them from our program. And I think back in the day, you know, the racing wasn't always what we wanted to see as far as entertaining with regard to Hornets. And since we've brought them back, that's probably been the most impressive thing last year in both our trial nights and then this year, is that the crowd has been entertained by the racing. It's been very good. It's been close. There's been some tight finishes, people coming through the pack. And so I don't think people really care what they're watching race, really, as long as the racing is quality. And that's what we've seen out of the Hornets. So I think, you know, that's been a very good positive thing for the Hornet class, and I'm looking forward to 2016 for that class. But I tell you, I'm really looking forward to this race this Friday. I think a lot of the fans will really, it will open a lot of fans' eyes to how entertaining that racing can be. And we're going to start 30 cars, and we're going to start them 3 wide. And I think that you'll be surprised at how good a job those guys do and how good a race it's going to be and how entertaining it's going to be. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's going to be over $700 to win. That is for the winner. Great payouts all the way down. Everyone's going to walk home with some money. And there are 9 bonuses all the way through the night as well, which you can check out Simmers Racing on KQEG TV on my Facebook and the Mississippi Thunder Speedway Facebook, where this afternoon I'm going to have everything compiled so you can see what these drivers are running for. Can't wait to call that one. So we skip a week. We've got weekly racing ending at the end of the month, but this $120,000 B-Mod Nationals coming up here. Did you think 4 years ago this thing would be as big as it is?
No, I didn't. You know, I got to give Jack Bayman credit for coming up with this idea. We did this event with A-Mods, and, you know, like a lot of the higher divisions, you know, car counts are starting to get tougher and tougher to come across. And so, you know, we're trying to come up with a way to have a big event, but we got to have participation. And the people want to see a lot of cars, and they want to see the best cars in the division, whatever it is. And so we started this thing out with B-Mods, and it really took off the first year, and it's been fairly successful the following 2 years. And so this year we want to change it up a little bit. I kind of want to have one of the biggest races in the country of whatever race type it is that I'm having.
Sure.
And this is kind of my baby, so this is the one that I'm working on. And it's been on our schedule since the beginning of the year, but I really didn't have the format established up till about probably 3 weeks ago. And I really wanted to have it come out as one of the biggest paying events in the country, and so that's kind of what we put together. You know, it's $20,000 to win, but for the top 30 cars that make that shows $1,000 to start. But we also have a 24-car race right after that. That's $5,000 to win, which is in itself probably one of the top 5 paying B-Mod races in the country. So, and then we have another $1,000 to win non-qualifier, and then for the hard luck race, we have a $500 to win race for the bottom 24 cars from the weekend. So everybody's got an opportunity to race for some extra money, and going to have huge car numbers, and I think you're going to see some interesting names as far as drivers go in B-Mods. So I think it's going to be a really entertaining weekend, and a lot of people for something for them to look forward to. When you start seeing some of these guys that you've seen in other classes get into a B-Mod and see them compete with our weekly competitors that run B-Mod, it's going to be very interesting to see how they do.
Well, again, this is it's going to start Wednesday, September 9th. We have an open practice, so the grandstand's going to open up. You can come in, look at some of these familiar names or unfamiliar names that are coming in from out of the region, and some of the local drivers. Pit concessions will be open as well, so you'll be able to enjoy that. Thursday, September 10th, we're going to start racing at 6. The grandstands will open at 4, and you're going to want to get there as early as you can, because once people get in with those lawn chairs and the couches and whatever they bring in, they're staying there. So you want to get yourself the best seat in the house as soon as you can. We're also going to be having breakfasts on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday morning. So if you're going to be camping out there, breakfast will be served, and when the concessions open up, there's your lunch, there's your dinner. So get used to good old-fashioned track food and breakfast for 3 days straight. On Friday, the complete B-Mods and Pure Stock and Sportsman, that will be racing at 6 o'clock as well. And then on Saturday, the B-Mod 20,000 to win main, a non-qualifier main, a hard luck main, B-Mains, and Pure Stock Sportsman will be racing as well. And I tell you what, Bob, one thing before we end the program, I looked at the prices of admission, and it's only $20 on the 20,000 hour to win for adults. On Saturday, $15 on Friday, $15 on Thursday. How much more economical can that be?
Yeah, no, that's one of the things I always try to do with my big programs. Obviously, there is a small increase always in general admission because of the purse, but I always try to keep it fairly reasonable. I try not to get it too far out there so everybody can attend. And the one thing that we always adhere to is our students and kids free. We want to make this a family event, and we do whatever we can to keep it affordable for everybody to bring the entire family.
Well, you can find out more information. All 4 days are right on the front page of the MississippiThunder.com website, and it's all color-coded. You can go down and you can pick the days you want to go, hopefully all 4 days, and the times are listed right there, so when you get out of work or you got some vacation time, you know exactly when to show up at the racetrack and strap yourself in. Again, that's MississippiThunder.com. Look them up on Facebook, and you can also check out My Racing Radio and TV Facebook as well, as we'll be posting the schedules and results the entire 4th annual MTS B-Mod National Weekend. That's Bob Timm. I want to appreciate you for coming in. Appreciate everything you've done up at that Speedway, man. I've seen a lot of new fans come up there, new drivers coming up, and it's all about fun, and that's what they're having.
Thank you. Appreciate everything you do to promote all the short track racing in our area.
Alrighty, a lot more coming up here the next couple of weeks, season championships, and then also going to remind you that Oktoberfest race weekend coming up at La Crosse, the second weekend of October, and the MTS Fall Fest is coming up in October as well. You can find both schedules on the respective websites. For Bob, Tim, I'm Dan Dykert. Thanks for Jesse producing the program. We'll be back next week with more. Remember, support your local short tracks, whether it's dirt or asphalt, doesn't matter. It's racing. I'm Dan Dykert.